So we got everybody involved, we worked hard, and we came in second. And I thought to myself, this isn't fair.
Our next speaker is Mayor David Freed. Mayor Freed has been successful in transforming Robbinsville into a thriving township. During his tenure, property values have increased and the sale price of existing homes has risen by more than 25%. He is focused on economic development through ratables and shared services, attracting Fortune 500 companies and fostering community service. Mayor Freed has also prioritized preserving open space and limiting new residential housing to control school enrollment and municipal taxes. Additionally, he has been recognized for his efforts in embracing individuals with special needs and fighting the opioid epidemic through his formation of the CARE program. On the business front, Mayor Freed is the CEO of Payday Payroll, providing integrated payroll and human resources management services. As an entrepreneur, mayor, and overall leader in our community, let's hear from our very own mayor on Carpe Diem, David Freed.
Good evening. Now you guys got to do better than that. Good evening. Good evening. You know, oftentimes I get asked what it's like to be mayor, and pretty much that improv routine was pretty much how my day goes. You never know what you're going to see. But today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to tell you a story that actually started in the Robbinsville school system. So I never intended to be mayor. That was not my intention when I started out. I started out in business, and I started my first company, believe it or not, while I was in college. That company grew beyond my wildest expectations, and when I was 30 years old, it hit number 20 on the Inc. 500, making it the 20th fastest growing company in the country. I had the opportunity to retire at 30 years old, and quickly realized retirement at 30 is not as fun as you think it would be. All your friends work. And I realized that being retired left me empty. There wasn't enough for me to do, and I felt like I had more to give. And I also wanted to serve. And as fate would have it, I had an opportunity to become a councilman. And then later, I had an opportunity the following year to become mayor. And it's not something that I had ever considered, but what I wanted to do, more than anything, was to be able to see if I could give, or at least to somehow make what I learned in the business community, and sort of see if I could translate it into government, and whether or not it would work, and how successful it would be. And my whole premise was servant leadership, and the idea of building a team and seeing if the things that I did in business would work in government. And the story I'm going to tell you is about a young man who contacted the mayor's office from Pond Road Middle School. And needless to say, I don't normally get very many calls from Pond Road Middle School to meet with the mayor. And he was insistent. And I thought, okay, you know what, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to spend a little bit of time. And this story will kind of lead into a few things that you've heard about. One, seizing the day, but also something that we talk about here in the Robbinsville School District, and that's making someone's day. I'm sure all of you have heard that before, correct? Come on, we can do a little better than that, yes. The running joke that I had with Steve Mayer was he was the other mayor, and we used to go back and forth and do that routine all the time. And he was a very good friend, and I believe in what he said. So when this young man called me, I went to Pond Road Middle School and I sat down with him and I said, you know, what's going on? And I realized at the time that this man, this little young man, was in a wheelchair, and he told me a story about the fact that he was a burden on his family because he was handicapped, and he had no way for his parents to transport him to where he needed to go. And he had an opportunity to enter a contest, and the contest would win him a handicapped van. And he figured if he could enlist me, and I could get the rest of the town to help, he could actually get enough votes to win this contest. So I thought, how could we possibly not do this, right? So we got everybody involved, we worked hard, and we came in second. And I thought to myself, this isn't fair. And how many times have you guys run into something that wasn't fair? Happens, right? And what made it even more frustrating is we gave 100%. So it was really frustrating when you give 100% and it's still not fair. And then I realized, you know what? we're going to seize the day. We have an opportunity to maybe do something a little bit different. And I realized, you know what? I'm mayor. I know people in the business community. I can get this done. So we decided to change the way that we did the State of the Township, which was a horribly boring event that we had to do once a year to the Chamber of Commerce for the business community. And I would get up there and talk about what we did for the year, and nobody else really wanted to hear it. And I wanted to deliver that speech even less. But it had to be done every year. It was something we had to do. And I said, you know what? We're going to change the way we do that this year, and we're going to make it into an event where we pay it forward. We're going to raise enough money, and we are going to get a van for this young man. And you've been to events where they hand someone a check. We were going to do it differently. We were going to set a bar a little bit higher, and we were going to give the family the keys to the van at this event, and they would have no idea it was going to happen. Sounds cool, right? Well, the chamber immediately heard the idea and canceled my event because they said, sorry, that's not what we do. Yeah, I know. So now I'm sitting here, I've got no event, I've got no sponsor, and what are we going to do? And this is one of the key things that I'm going to tell you, no matter what you decide to do in life. Number one, set a goal. Number two, build a team. Build a team around you of people that you want around you. Building a team is more important than the what. It's always about the who and who you're going to surround yourself with and build that team. That's what I always did in business. Always told everyone my job as CEO wasn't to do anything. It was to build a great team. And my team immediately was horrified that we weren't going to pull this off. And they went into action. And we started creating an event. We started talking to the business community. And believe it or not, in 3 days, we raised enough money to buy the van. And we were excited. We were 2 weeks out, we have the money, this is going to work. I called the van company and they gave me the bad news. It takes 6 months to get a van. That was not something we knew. So now I've got 2 weeks, I need a van and I want to have it for the event. We then started talking to all of our friends at the nonprofits. And it just so happened one of my friends who runs Legacy Treatment Services, who happens to have homes here in Robbinsville, I called the CEO and said to Roy, I said, Roy, I got a problem, I need a van. He said, okay. Told him my problem. He says, you know, they take months to get. I said, yeah, I learned that the hard way. He said, well, you're never going to believe it. He goes, I might be able to help you out. Come to the office tomorrow. Showed up at his office the next day, and he had 4 brand new handicap accessible vans sitting in his parking lot. He had a red one, a silver one, a white one, and a black one. And he said, you know what? Pick whichever one you want. Take it to the event. We just want to be one of the sponsors, and we'll throw in the insurance for the year to help. I thought, this is incredible. This is actually going to work. So we brought everyone together, and mind you, no one knew what this event was going to be. None of the sponsors knew, no one knew. We brought everyone together that night, and we told the family that they were going to get the van. We showed the video, and we told Trey's story, and there was not a dry eye in the house. Everyone was crying. No one expected this to possibly happen. And we walked outside, and we gave his mother the van. She literally took a knee. And she said, you know, I had dreamed that this was going to happen, and I had dreamed that it was going to be a black van. And of the 4 vans, we actually chose the black one, and it just so happens that it all worked out. And in that moment, we were able to seize the day, and we were able to also make a young man's day, and we also changed the family's lives. Since that first State of the Township, we have now raised $500,000 for Pay It Forward events. We do it every year for different charities. And we've made a difference in different people's lives. One year we had a teacher here in the Robbinsville school system who had ALS, and she wanted to be able to stay in her home. So she didn't know it. She thought her present was going to be we sent her on a cruise with her family. But while she was away, we renovated her garage, and we turned it into a bedroom and a bathroom so that she could stay in her home while she fought the disease. We've been able to use the Pay It Forward event over and over again. We also were the first town to ever stop arresting people for opioids and start getting them into treatment programs. Because no one has ever become better from coming out of jail when they have an illness. And if we have to believe that it's an illness, we have to help people. And this has been our mission in Robbinsville. We want to have servant leadership. And the whole idea behind servant leadership is serving others. Trying to figure out where you can make an impact. Setting goals. It's the most important thing that you're going to do. Set a goal. Make them big. It's okay to fail. It's okay to pick yourself up and do it again. Good news, you just figured out the first thing that didn't work. And you can keep working at it until you find the thing that does. Surround yourself with great people who support you. And the next piece of advice I will give you is the hardest piece, and people hate to do it, and that's ask for help. You cannot do anything alone. You have to create a team, and believe it or not, people want to help. If you ask them to help you, you would be surprised how often they're willing to do it, and you can't be afraid to ask. No one has ever done anything by themselves, and I can tell you, there's nothing that I could have accomplished without my team. That's what makes us great, and that's what makes organizations great, having a fantastic team and making sure you have the right people on the bus. Make sure you set your goals, make sure you write them down. Always ask for help, and never be afraid to seize the day, and never be afraid to make someone's day. Thank you.